So tonight I wanted to talk on a passage from Proverbs that I've known for a very long time, or enjoyed, and kind of a life verse really for a long time. And just over the last few weeks, I feel like it's kind of come full circle in a whole new definition of what this verse is. And that verse is Proverbs 3, verses 5 and 6. And that is, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take. And as a Highlands College student, this kind of speaks a lot when I think about the word journey and how, we're wanting to go places and wanting to do certain things, and we want to have a hands-on approach to that. And this verse really speaks to more of a hands-off approach, because we're commanded to trust God in all of our ways.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine once told me, I was going through some stuff, and some of y'all know that story with why we transitioned out of our roles in Louisiana and why we moved back here. And it was really a God thing. He just happened to come to a grow event at the church we're at in Louisiana, and he told me, he said, Taylor, you can never get to your Disney World without first going through your Vision Land, or your Disneyland without first going through your Vision Land. And we all know the difference between the two parks. Vision Land is a kind of a hometown, one day kind of sketchy amusement park in Birmingham, Alabama. And Disney World, you have more than one park, rides, shows, good food, all the entertainment. In fact, their slogan is where dreams are made of.
Yeah.
And so I could probably speak for all of us and say we would rather go to Disney World than Vision Land.
Yeah.
But if I could compare that to where we're at now as Highlands College students, specifically third semesters, Highlands College is our Vision Land. And what we're trying to get to is our Disneyland, where we're going to be, what we're going to be doing. But it's in those times in our Vision Land is where we learn the most. And if you're like me, being third semesters, I've begun to ask myself the question, in a semester and a half, I'm going to be maybe interviewing for roles somewhere or someplace, or asking what role it's going to be, who it's going to be under, where it's going to be at, when is it going to happen. And those are exciting times. It really opens a door of excitement, but when excitement comes, it can also bring some unnecessary, anxious uncertainty, because you don't have the answer to any of those questions. And this verse unpacks all of that, because you have verse 6 and you have verse 5, and they just go hand in hand. That verse 5 is almost like a prediction. It's like a prediction of our obedience in that moment. And in that moment, we can either trust God or we trust ourselves.
Yeah.
If we trust God, we're promised with what verse 6 says is that he's going to keep our path straight. Some translations say that he's going to tell us where to go, tell us what place to take. But the minute we buy into what we want to do, is the minute that the anxiousness comes in. And I really think that, through this passage, if we really buy into this passage, it makes it possible for us to do two things. And the first thing is that it makes us and allows us to embrace the now. Because if I'm so focused on where I'm going to be or what I'm going to be doing, I can think back to the first time I went through it. I just had to know, where is it that I'm going? I'm single. At that point, I was single. Am I going to meet my wife there? Am I going to get to preach? Am I going to be kind of behind the scenes? And just all these questions. And what I learned in that moment is if I'm focused on the future, I'm going to miss out on everything now. My mom did that one time, on vacation, is you just want to get there. And she was so focused on the future that she wasn't present in the now and left her entire suitcase at home. And so when we got to where we were going, which happened to be Mexico, she's a long way away from her suitcase. And so it's just so important that when we trust God and not ourselves, we get to enjoy the promise of that verse and that he's going to keep our path straight. And the second thing that makes it possible is that we get to anticipate the future.
Come on.
Because there's only one or two things that happen. When we trust God, we get to anticipate what's going to happen. And if we trust ourselves, we're anxious. We want to know what's going to happen. But when we are in a place to where we can anticipate what's going to happen, then we get to enjoy where we are now with the relationships and what God's teaching us and the teams we serve on. Because the last thing you want to do is be so anxious about where you're going that you miss out on God teaching you the things that you need to have for when you get to where you're going.
Yeah.
And so it's just very important to buy into that and hold on to this verse. And that's just what's been so good to me in this moment of knowing, you know what? God has my best interests in mind.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do to speed up the process, no matter how bad I want. You know, like right now I'm struggling with, I'm fixing to have a child. Do I want to take her away from her grandparents? But in the end, God is already worried about that. Not worried about that, but he's already working on that and working it out for me. And my challenge to you practically is go home tonight and in your prayer time in the morning or whatever, write down some things that maybe you're wrestling with or holding on to, and pray over that. Surrender that to God, because I want you to be able to be in the now, embrace the now, and anticipate the future. And to close everything out, Deuteronomy 31:8 says that do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord will personally go ahead of you.
Yeah.
He will be with you. So he's with you now, teaching you, but he's in our future, preparing the way with all the answers to every question that you have right now. So my challenge to you is that, is just embrace the now and anticipate the future. Amen.
Good job, Tim.
Amen.
Awesome.